In this video, we will discuss Triton-TIMI 38 trial. This trial was designed to assess improvement in therapeutic outcomes by optimizing platelet inhibition with prasugrel. This trial was based on the hypothesis that the use of an antiplatelet agent producing a greater inhibition of ADP-induced platelet aggregation and a less variable, consistent response than the standard dose clopidogrel reduces ischemic events. Thus, the objective of this trial was to compare prasugrel versus clopidogrel in patients with acute coronary syndromes with planned PCI. The unstable angina or NSTEMI patients presenting with symptoms lasting for at least 10 minutes and occurring within 72 hours before randomization and TIMI risk score of 3 or more with either ST segment deviation of at least 1 millimeter or elevated cardiac biomarkers were included in this trial. While STEMI patients included in this trial within 12 hours after the onset of symptoms if primary PCI was planned or within 14 days after receiving medical treatment for STEMI. An increased risk of bleeding, anemia, thrombocytopenia, history of pathologic intracranial findings, and use of any thienopyridine within 5 days before enrollment were some of the exclusion criteria. A composite of death from cardiovascular causes, non-fatal myocardial infarction, or non-fatal stroke during the follow-up period was the primary efficacy endpoint. Primary composite endpoint, a composite of death from cardiovascular causes, non-fatal myocardial infarction, or urgent target vessel revascularization were the key secondary efficacy endpoints at 30 and 90 days. While stent thrombosis, a composite of death from cardiovascular causes, non-fatal myocardial infarction, non-fatal stroke, or rehospitalization due to a cardiac ischemic event were the key secondary endpoints for the entire follow-up period. The additional pre-specified analysis included an analysis of the rates of primary endpoint from randomization to day 3 and from day 3 to the end of the study. Non-CABG-related TIMI major bleeding, non-CABG-related TIMI life-threatening bleeding, and TIMI major or minor bleeding were the key safety endpoints. P-value of less than 0.05 was considered statistically significant. So it was a randomized double-blind phase 3 trial which included over 13,000 patients with acute coronary syndromes with scheduled PCI. About 3/4 patients were moderate to high-risk unstable angina or NSTEMI patients and remaining 1/4 patients were STEMI patients. These patients were randomized to receive either prasugrel 60 mg or clopidogrel 300 mg any time between randomization and 1 hour after leaving the cath lab. In all patients with unstable angina or NSTEMI or in those enrolled after medical treatment for STEMI, the coronary anatomy had to be known to be suitable for PCI before randomization. While if the coronary anatomy was previously known or primary PCI for STEMI was planned, then the pre-treatment with the study drug was permitted for up to 24 hours before PCI. The randomization was to occur before PCI was performed and the study drug was to be administered as soon as possible after the randomization. After PCI, all patients received aspirin 75 to 162 mg daily and maintenance doses of prasugrel 10 mg or clopidogrel 75 mg daily. The patients were followed up at hospital discharge, then at 30 and 90 days, and then at 3-month intervals thereafter for a total of 6 to 15 months. Now moving to the results of this trial. First, let's go through the results of efficacy endpoints at 15 months in all our cohort of the ACS patients. The primary efficacy endpoint of death from cardiovascular causes, non-fatal myocardial infarction or non-fatal stroke occurred in 9.9% patients in prasugrel group compared to 12.1% patients in clopidogrel group. The individual component of the primary endpoint of non-fatal myocardial infarction occurred in 7.3% patients in prasugrel group compared to 9.5% patients in clopidogrel group. Thus, the incidence of primary endpoint was significantly reduced in the prasugrel group compared to clopidogrel group, predominantly because of reduction in the non-fatal myocardial infarction rates, while the other two individual components of the primary endpoint, that is death from cardiovascular causes and non-fatal stroke, did not differ significantly between two groups. Similar to overall cohort population, a significant reduction in the primary efficacy endpoint was observed with prasugrel group in both unstable angina and STEMI population as well as STEMI population. Now moving to the results of other efficacy endpoints at 15 months. The two combined secondary endpoints of death from cardiovascular causes, non-fatal MI or urgent target vessel revascularization and death from cardiovascular causes, non-fatal MI, non-fatal stroke or rehospitalization for ischemia were significantly lower in prasugrel group Similarly, the third secondary endpoint of stent thrombosis occurred in 1.1% patients in prasugrel group compared to 2.4% patients in clopidogrel group. Similarly, the other two secondary endpoints of stent thrombosis and urgent target vessel revascularization were also lower in the prasugrel group. Though the incidence of death from any cause did not differ significantly between two groups, the combined endpoint of death from any cause, non-fatal MI and non-fatal stroke was significantly lower in the prasugrel group compared to clopidogrel group. So now moving to the results of primary efficacy endpoint at pre-specified time points. At both the first and second pre-specified time points, a significant reduction in the primary efficacy endpoint was observed with the prasugrel use. Though the death from cardiovascular causes not preceded by recurrent myocardial infarction did not differ between two groups, the rates of myocardial infarction and myocardial infarction with subsequent death from cardiovascular causes were significantly lower with the prasugrel group. Now moving to the pre-specified subgroup analysis. With regard to the primary endpoint, the benefit with prasugrel was observed irrespective of the use of GP2B3A inhibitors. In case of diabetic patients, the primary efficacy endpoint occurred in 12.2% patients in prasugrel group compared to 17% patients in clopidogrel group, while in non-diabetic patients, the primary efficacy endpoint occurred in 9.2% patients in prasugrel group compared to 10.6% patients in clopidogrel group. Thus, the greater benefit of prasugrel was observed among patients with diabetes compared to those without diabetes. Now moving to the results of safety endpoints in the overall cohort population at 15 months. All safety endpoints, with the exception of intracranial bleeding, were significantly higher in the prasugrel group. The rate of non-CABG-related TB major bleeding, including spontaneous, life-threatening, and fatal bleeding, was significantly higher in prasugrel group compared to clopidogrel group. Similarly, the rates of CABG-related major bleeding, non-CABG-related major or minor bleeding, and bleeding requiring transfusion were higher in prasugrel group. More patients treated with prasugrel discontinued the drug due to the adverse events related to bleeding. The life-threatening bleeding at the end of this study was significantly higher in prasugrel group, while from the time of randomization to day 3, the life-threatening bleeding did not differ significantly between two groups. However, from day 3 to the end of the study, it was significantly higher with the prasugrel use. The incidence of fatal life-threatening bleeding was significantly higher with prasugrel use, while non-fatal life-threatening bleeding did not differ significantly between two groups. So now moving to the results of net clinical benefit. The net clinical benefit, which was defined as a combined efficacy and safety endpoints, that is, combined endpoint of death from any cause, non-fatal myocardial infarction, non-fatal stroke, non-CABG-related non-fatal TB major bleeding, occurred in 12.2% patients in the prasugrel group compared to 13.9% patients in the clopidogrel group. Thus, the net clinical benefit clearly favored prasugrel. Because of discordance between the efficacy results and the safety results, this post-hoc exploratory analysis was undertaken to identify the subgroup of patients who did not have a favorable net clinical benefit or have a net clinical harm. The three subgroups were identified. In patients with a history of stroke or TI, the net clinical harm from prasugrel was observed, while in case of patients aged 75 years and above and those with body weight less than 60 kg, no net clinical benefit from prasugrel use was observed. The higher rates of bleeding were observed in patients with at least one of these three risk factors in both treatment groups. In case of patients with history of stroke and TIA, the primary efficacy endpoint did not differ significantly between two groups, while non-CABG-related TB major bleeding was significantly higher in prasugrel group. And thus the combined efficacy and safety endpoint was significantly higher in prasugrel group compared to clopidogrel group. While in those with no history of stroke or TIA, the primary efficacy endpoint was significantly lower in prasugrel group, with no difference between non-CAB-related TB major bleeding between two groups. Thus, the combined efficacy and safety endpoint was significantly lower in the prasugrel group compared to clopidogrel group. Thus, in patients with history of stroke and TIA, no clinical benefit from prasugrel as evaluated by the primary efficacy endpoint was observed, and there was a strong trend towards the greater rates of major bleeding, including intracranial bleeding. While in case of patients without the history of stroke or TIA, a significant benefit from prasugrel was observed with respect to the primary efficacy endpoint, with no significant increase in the rates of major bleeding. Thus, the significant interaction between history of cerebrovascular events and the degree of net clinical benefit was observed with prasugrel, with a significant harm with prasugrel use in patients with the history of cerebrovascular events compared to a significant benefit with prasugrel in patients without such history. In case of patients with at least one of these three risk factors, that is age 75 years and above, body weight less than 60 kg, or history of stroke or TIA, the primary efficacy endpoint, non-CA related TIMI major bleeding, and combined efficacy and safety endpoints did not differ significantly between two groups, while in case of patients with age less than 75 years, body weight more than 60 kg, and no history of stroke or TIA, the primary efficacy endpoint occurred in less number of patients in prasugrel group, with no significant difference between two groups with respect to non-CA related TIMI major bleeding, and thus combined efficacy and safety endpoint was significantly lower in prasugrel group compared to clopidogrel group. Thus, a significant interaction between the presence and absence of any of these three risk factors and degree of net clinical benefit was observed for prasugrel compared with clopidogrel, though no significant harm was evident, while in patients without these three risk factors, significant net clinical benefit without significant difference in the rate of major bleeding was observed with the prasugrel use. Now moving to the interpretation of this trial, both absolute and relative reductions in primary efficacy endpoint and its individual components were observed with prasugrel compared with clopidogrel at the standard approved doses of clopidogrel. However, this reduction achieved in ischemic events with the prasugrel compared with standard dose clopidogrel was associated with a significant increase in the rate of bleeding events, including TIMI major bleeding, life-threatening and fatal bleeding. The relative rate of TIMI major bleeding was increased by 32% with the prasugrel use, and this increase in the incidence of bleeding events was observed both near the time of PCI and after PCI. In case of patients who underwent CABG, major bleeding occurred at a higher rate among those receiving prasugrel, thus putting emphasis on the strategy of discontinuing the therapy with more potent platelet inhibitors before surgery. Less clinical efficacy and greater absolute risk of bleeding was observed in the following three subgroups, resulting in either no net clinical benefit or net clinical harm. In case of patients with history of stroke or TIA, net clinical harm from prasugrel use was observed. Increased risk of adverse outcomes, including intracranial hemorrhage, was observed in these patients. While in case of patients aged 75 years and above and those with body weight less than 60 kg, no net clinical benefit from prasugrel use was observed. Now let's go through some miscellaneous findings of this trial. In addition to the results of pre-specified safety outcomes, higher rates of adverse events related to colonic cancer were observed in the prasugrel group, which may be because of more potent antiplatelet effect of prasugrel, bringing more events to medical attention. Now let's go through some pharmacodynamic data. The degree of platelet inhibition achieved with prasugrel within 30 minutes after treatment is similar to the peak effect of clopidogrel 6 hours after administration, thus suggesting that prolonged pretreatment may not be necessary for prasugrel to achieve its therapeutic effect. And this more rapid onset of an antiplatelet effect may have played an important role in the reduction of early MI despite absence of pretreatment. Further, continued reduction in the ischemic events throughout the follow-up period suggested steady-state inhibition of platelet aggregation and thus the continued benefit of greater inhibition of platelet aggregation during maintenance therapy. In a study population with moderate to high-risk ACS patients, on an average for every 1,000 patients treated with prasugrel, as compared with clopidogrel, 23 myocardial infarctions were prevented with an excess of 6 non-CABG-related TB major bleeding. And the number of patients needed to be treated with prasugrel compared to standard dose clopidogrel to prevent one primary efficacy endpoint during a 15-month period was 46. And the number of patients who would have to be treated to result in an excess non-CAB-related TB major bleeding was 167. So to conclude, the greater inhibition of ADP-induced platelet aggregation by the tested regime of prasugrel is more effective in preventing ischemic events than the standard dose regime of clopidogrel. However, this benefit is achieved at the expense of increased risk of major bleeding. And thus, when considering the antiplatelet regime for acute coronary syndrome patients undergoing PCI, the benefits and risk of intense inhibition of platelet aggregation need to be carefully considered. So these are the references you can go through for further details.